Hi, my name is Lori Groh. I'm co-owner at Shoreside Therapies. Today we have Lindsey Kingsley with us again.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi. Thanks for
Hi.
being here.
Yeah. So today, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say probably the same thing you were, is today we're talking about what to expect on your first session for therapy and kind of go over some of those concerns that somebody might have when they are starting to do therapy.
Yeah, I was thinking of, coming from the frame of reference, we get a lot of people that have it's therapy, it's their first time in therapy. So it's just kind of water it down so that we can talk about just the different, like vulnerabilities, apprehensions that people have and the common questions we get. So that's where we'll start.
Yeah, I think that's so useful because people will feel a little bit more comfortable with the process, especially if it's your first time. It's hard to know exactly what it's going to look like and feel like.
Yeah.
All right. So, Lindsey, our first question is, what does therapy look like?
Yeah, so I thought I'd start with just like common misconceptions because I get a lot of it all the time from, even my family. I feel like they still think that, everyone's like laying on a couch and we're doing hypnosis. So it's not, it's come a long way, the evolution of therapy. But it's not always psychoanalysis, talking about your childhood, things like that. So I just want to kind of normalize that, it's not. I think people have fears of just like being judged by their therapist or that they're going to tell us something that is going to have some shock value. And it's just interesting to see it from the other perspective because, we see people all the time. There's not really anything you can say that would bring about a sense of, shock. But I think it's just a nervousness around sharing certain things that are close to you.
Yeah. I think that's a good point, Lindsey, is that a lot of times people will feel apprehensive about sharing something. And I always let them know, I've heard a lot of things,
All of it.
So, and even if I haven't, that's still okay. It's still okay.
Yeah. I always just think of the comic strip of like the dog laying on the couch. Like that's just like, I think a lot of perceptions of like what it is and it's not. So, it's more comfortable, I'd say, laid back, things like that. So a lot of the goals within therapy is to build insight and awareness into, individuals themselves, their thoughts, emotions, just different behaviors, patterns, learn how to, deal with different stressful situations, gaining perspective on areas in your life like careers, relationships, things like building confidence as well, and just overall coping,
Yeah, and trying new things and having that support and ideas. And yeah, it can be all of those things. It can be some of those things. It depends, right, on the person.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Awesome. All right. So what should I do if I'm nervous to start or don't know where to start?
Yeah, definitely. So with Shoreside, we do offer 15-minute free consults. So I'd say, work with that consultation, either a video or phone call. I think sometimes just meeting people, face to face with video, or even in person. So just talking about that. So just talk about your concerns, right? The feelings that you have. I know it's hard to do that, but I think once, people share their concerns and we address those, that it gets a lot easier into, just weighing out, do I want to do this? Is this a good time? So kind of just like weighing out pros and cons of therapy, and you can do all that within the consultation. So, addressing those fears that you have,
Yeah, I think that's a great thing for people to just get to know someone just a smidgen before they walk in and feel sort of that commitment of now I'm starting. They get to choose. They don't have to just go with whomever. That's another thing too with that is if you do a couple of consults, I know at Shoreside, everybody's okay with that. So even if there's a few people that you are like, oh, maybe I'll see them, maybe I'll see them. We all know that that's totally okay to do that. And it's just a part of it. Yeah.
No strings attached. Yeah. And so, I think people often wonder, like, I don't know what to ask or they hesitate. And so, things like to ask your therapist is like, what's your therapeutic style? What are different populations you've worked with? What's your level of comfort working with whatever issue? And just personality styles, right? I think some people, jive with, either a more serious approach or less serious approach. And so everybody's different. And it's hard to tell that without, going in and reading someone's profile. So like actually just sitting down with someone in person, you can really like feel like if it's a good fit or not too. So
100%. And knowing that too, that there's going to be somebody out there that fits for you.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Next question. So what can I do to get ready for my first session? I get this question quite often.
Yep. Yeah. Like thinking we need all these things ready and in order and things like that. So I think it's just more mentally like getting ready. So I always think about your commitment, like defining your goals. So, what do you want to get out of therapy? Thinking about your history. So how long has this been going on? I think even, I've never had anyone come in with like a history or a timeline, but even just having like a timeline, like, well, this has kind of been happening for the past year, or just like, nailing down whatever, issue is, things like that, or even just thinking about that, how long has this been going on for? I think just getting ready to learn, new different approaches or different ways of thinking of ways to do things. So like just having an open mind. And I think we'll do this without therapy, so no pressure. It doesn't have to be done on that first session, but thinking about your why. Why are we entering into therapy? Why now? Those types of things.
Yeah. And I do also think, right, like it doesn't have to be the streamline 100% know everything, like you said, most people don't come in with a timeline all set and ready to go, but you can always kind of go back to it. And that's what I like about therapy too, is that it's not just this concrete, here is my stuff, please tell me what to do, that it's more in depth and it can circle back and you don't have to know all of the answers in that session.
Nope. Nope. Yeah.
All right. So speaking of that, what can I expect in my first session?
Yeah, so the first session is a lot of question asking. I would say we do a primary assessment. So that's going through a lot of questions around your history. It's a thorough evaluation of things like what we call ADLs, activities of daily living. So, in what ways does this, issue or problem affect your work, hobbies, relationships? What are your areas of concern? What are your, strengths or needs, things like that. We might ask about any past history in treatment or involvement with different types of therapies, so that we can kind of know what would be a good direction to go. And that thing, it's a lot of jargon, but it's called a psychosocial assessment. And it's basically just your emotional, mental, and physical well-being with different areas of your life. So I'd say it's a lot of more information gathering, but I think clients forget too that it's two-sided. Like you can ask questions as well. Like, if you're like, I don't understand this, or I don't understand why you're asking it, I always say I'd rather just hear the, question or concern, with what's going on. And then we'll obtain goals. So treatment plan, what are your goals? What do you want to get out of therapy, short-term, long-term? And then, I always tell people, especially in that first session, if it's very intimidating, share as little or as much as you want. If you're not ready to share certain things or aspects, that is totally fine, because it's an unfolding process, throughout.
Yeah. I think that is key, is really understanding you don't have to just unload everything. It's about your comfort level. And of course, as the process goes on, we might challenge you to share a little bit more or whatever, but that first session, it's totally okay for you not to want to share everything. But it is also meant for gathering information. So it is a good thing to have that back and forth.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So what can I expect after my first session?
Yes. So I think coming in with realistic expectations, obviously we want to feel better, have a sense of relief. I think, for some people, if there's a diagnosis involved, like having a diagnosis or understanding your symptoms can provide a sense of relief. Like, oh, okay, well, I'm not just, doing something wrong, or, kind of understanding like, okay, that's normal. This, is healthy. This isn't healthy, those types of things. And hopefully a litlittle bit more hopeful that things can get better, right? Like that there is hope, because, as therapists, I always say, like, we wouldn't sit in this role if we knew it wasn't going to work, Right. So, knowing that, there's a sense of hope, glimmer of hope, there's things that you can do. So within that, after the first session, we make the treatment plan. We go over that collaboration between those goals. The therapist will discuss their general recommendations for care. So they'll talk about kind of what to expect, how long, therapy might take to see results, or, skills that we might be working on, orientations with different types of therapy styles. And, the biggest part is that collaboration, like a team, feeling like you have someone on your side, in your corner, that can help you with whatever concern it is that you came in with, that you have someone that can understand and help alongside all of that,
Yeah. And so Lindsey, for those of you that haven't maybe done therapy before, for your assessment, do you find that it takes maybe a few sessions before you gather all of that information?
Correct. Yeah. It's not like, within one session, we've got it all figured out, with, I'd say like those first, 3 to 4 sessions is still getting to know you, is getting to know your needs, what is helpful, what's not helpful. And the more you share, that can only help the process with us making recommendations or finding certain skills or styles that are going to be like the best fit.
Yeah, because I do think too, sometimes people think things should be moving quicker. And so knowing that sometimes the information gathering takes longer, or there might be some things that we're missing yet in order to give like that concrete, this is the direction we should be going.
Yep. So yeah, coming in with those realistic expectations that if this has been going on for a while, it might take a while, and so there, might be some feelings of uncomfortability. We always talk about risks and that. And so I think, at least for myself, it's helpful to know like risks or what to expect. And so it may, like you said, it may take some sessions for you to really start seeing results or, having more hope, things like that. So just, come in with patience and, knowing that it can get better.
Yeah. But you're right. It is so important to understand that those symptoms or what's been going on has been longer. And so to expect that you're going to make these changes within, a few weeks, it's probably not realistic. And I think it's important to know that, because otherwise you might be feeling bad about it, or why am I not moving quicker? And it's important to be so patient with yourself in the process. And to, make these little goals and track some of that too, to see where you're at and how far you're going. So. Yep.
I always say be cautious of anything that's, selling you on something that is some quick fix, right? Because it's kind of like a Band-Aid over a gigantic wound. Like it might seem like it's working on the surface, but is it really internally sticking and working and long-term going to be effective? So just be cautious with those things. Yeah.
And the reverse too, right? Like if somebody's feeling like a little bit more uncomfortable, or that there's something where they're kind of feeling like, okay, I don't want to go anymore, that's a great thing to bring up to your therapist, because that usually is right before some big changes happen.
Yep. Yeah. That's when we see like prematurely, people leaving, when you're like, oh, we're just on the cusp of things, so really patience. I can't say it enough. And like I said, if it's a concern, bring it up. That's what we're here for. Like, to talk about the concerns or, whatever you're feeling like. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Lindsey, so much. It was so awesome talking with you today.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. And so if you want to get a hold of Lindsey, you can go to our website at shoresidetherapies.com, and all of our information is there. You can book a session right online, that free 15-minute consult as well. And we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.